Vasudevaya. Namaste, everyone. So, the topic that I was given for the month was reconnecting with our source. And over the last 3 weeks, I've been going on a little bit of a journey. The first week we talked about the pain that comes with isolation, that it is not our nature to really exist or to be in isolation, that we find it disturbing. It really affects us physically and mentally, and that's because it is connected to our deeper and eternal spiritual nature, and that in reality we are, and I used one of those ancient Vedic verses that describe that we are like numerous sparks from the fire, that we have a connection with something, we are part of something. Then in the second week, the talk was titled, We All Have a Soulmate. And the reality that we are eternally and intimately connected to someone that is very dear to us. This relationship is not foreign, only it has become covered and unknown to us. And in the Mundaka Upanishad, in the Svetasvatara Upanishad, gives the example of like two birds sitting in the same tree, that one of them is the living being situated in the body, trying to enjoy the fruits of the tree, hopping from branch to branch, but all the while experiencing loneliness and moroseness. But in that same tree is another bird, the eternal friend of the first bird. And he is waiting for that first bird to turn and recognize his eternal friend and to reconnect. And so this is the actual meaning of soulmate. All other relationships are temporary, as the maximum time they can last is this one lifetime, and then it's all, it's gone. So then the last week we talked about in the Stand By Me, this idea that we have and we long for is this BFF, as they say, best friend forever. We desire the intimacy of this type of connection. And once again, because it is part of our eternal spiritual nature, this is connected to who we are. And so tonight I'm going to be, speaking using the topic, finding our way home. We all have this notion and idea that of coming home after being away for so long. And there's just like limitless songs. Country road, take me home to the place where I belong. That part of it has a spiritual truth attached to it. And all the songs that are sung by this, and this desire that we have, it is part of a deep spiritual desire. But before we get into talking about it, I just wanted to say that for those who are serious and sincere about undertaking a spiritual quest, we really need to take a very humble position. In this world, we are taught to be very strong and independent, and I know what's going on, and I know what's best for me. This type of, really what people think is empowered. But from a spiritual perspective, it could be a very ignorant position. And I'll give you a couple of examples what I'm talking about. You have two kind of categories of scientists. Those who are genuine scientists, I mean deep thinkers and great seekers. And they all share a common characteristic, this really deep humility that comes from seeing this huge and overwhelming picture that everybody is struggling to come to grips with. And then you've got the other type of person who has come to understand a few natural laws and think they've got it all sorted and they know everything and they've got it together, and anybody that's going to disagree with them is ignorant or stupid and they know what's going on. I mean, you look at somebody like Albert Einstein, you know that Albert Einstein look, you know, with the hair everywhere, and just like, you know, like, whoa! Just coming to grips with some of the realities. And then you have these, I saw one time this coffee table book of brief statements from astronauts. American, Russian, there's a Japanese guy in there, people from all over the world, astronaut, people that have been out in space, particularly the first time it happens. And they just go through this, it's mind-blowing and completely life-altering for them to be able to look down at this place that we live on, that's suspended, floating in this limitless ocean of space, Akash, and limitless planets and stars, vast arrays of universes, that you cannot comprehend the extent of it. And all of them have what I can only categorize in the nicest and deepest way. They have like a profoundly religious experience. It's just like they're awestruck at their own almost insignificance, how tiny we are as individuals, and that we're connected to this awesome and massive thing that is operating with such perfection. And it's just like, it's overwhelming. Some of them even shed tears. You know, they're just, even people that are deeply atheistic, they just have this, they're just overwhelmed by the experience. And so when I talk about the need for humility, actual real humility is not going to come from some false place. It is something that actually should happen as a result of gaining a deeper and more profound understanding of things. Shifting to the yogis. The yogis had a view of this world that is just like mind-boggling. It's really similar to people that are really into quantum physics. People that are deeply absorbed in quantum physics are just walking around in a state of perpetual mind-blowingness. Because it's just like, how do you come to grips with things? The yogis examine stuff, time and space, in the most astonishing ways, and the nature of the material world and the nature of the body, and the big question that scientists don't want to touch, the question of consciousness, chitta. It's just like, it's just too mind-blowing. There's one really famous quantum physicist who is just astounded how scientists refuse to become involved with or recognize the role that consciousness plays in science. That if you are aware and you are able to observe, who is that is observing? What is this process of awareness and observation? What role does it play in observation of scientific detail? You know, all of these things are just like, it's not dealt with, which he says is the biggest single shortcoming of science and limits the ability to develop a really deep and comprehensive overview of everything. The yogis would refer to this world as a world of names. And they walked around, they breathed and lived the whole time in this deep awareness that if you look at the smallest material elements, and let's just take, I know it's not the smallest, but you know, a complete unit is an atom, and the three components, neutrons, protons, and electrons. And there's fundamentally only one kind of electron, there's fundamentally only one kind of proton and one kind of neutron. But when these things are put together in different arrangements, they manifest differently. A lump of chocolate has the same electrons, neutrons, and protons as dog shit. Excuse me. Exactly. I mean, there's no difference. And this goes on with everything. Everything. And so they refer to the world as a world of names because we're just attaching labels to things and seeing things in a very limited way. We don't see things deeply. You know, I've got some cold tea in here. If I put it on my hand, and I could actually see that on an atomic level, I cannot differentiate between where the air ends and the tea starts. I cannot differentiate between where the liquid ends and the wall of the cup starts. I cannot differentiate on an atomic level, I mean way down there, where the cup ends and my hand begins, nor the air around it. And yet, here we are, with our limited perspective, you know, using these gushy, gelatinous things in our head to look at things, and we're not even understanding how we see, and we're not understanding how we process. We're just kind of like stumbling around, accepting certain things as being a reality when they're not. We accept the body as being who we are. That's an absolute falsehood. You're not the body, nor are you the mind. We accept the world as our home. It's not. We act as if we're going to live forever in this particular body. No, you're not. That's one thing you know for certain. This experience of life in this body comes to an end for everyone. No avoiding it. This body has literally come from the earth, and after you have left it, it will return to the earth. It is true that the home for the body is the earth. But if you are not the body and you are a spiritual being, then what is your home? And we just foolishly accept that this experience that we're having, stumbling around, touching, tasting, feeling, smelling, that this is the sum total reality. And someone wants to come along and speak of a higher spiritual principle. That's a fantasy. No. This is the fantasy. What we're living in and what we're going through is the fantasy. And so, the yogis, they had this similar look as Albert Einstein, like, and just watching how everybody is controlled by these invisible forces called the modes of nature. And the modes which are in the mode of goodness, sattva, rajas, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. We're just constantly being propelled to think things and drawn to things and to act in certain ways. And there's so much going on that we're just oblivious of. And that's rather, I don't mean this in a critical way. It's actually really childish. But we accept it. We think we've got it together. We know what's going on. We got a grip. And it's really not true from the point of deep science or deep spirituality. It's absolutely not true. So when we talk about an alternate spiritual reality, some people say that that's a belief system. No. Your belief in this world and your belief that the body is you and that you can find a home here and perfect happiness, that's the belief system. That's the blind faith. There is an alternate spiritual reality. We do have a home. We do have somewhere where we belong. We do have a soulmate. These are all part of the spiritual reality of who we are. This spiritual dimension is referred to in the Vedas by the term Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha literally means where there is no anxiety. And that's just like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, the material experience is constant anxiety because we will always be in one of three positions. There will be something that we desire or want or feel that we need. And with that will come a corresponding anxiety that I may not be able to get it. And that will be pervasive. And it's just like, people think, okay, I'm not, I'm all relaxed, it's cool. I'm sitting on an airplane, going on vacation to Bali, and I hit some heavy air turbulence. And in that heavy air, has anybody here been in heavy air turbulence where people are flying out of their chair and hitting the roof and stuff? And you see the air hostess down on the ground crawling. Because otherwise they get broken ankles. That's why they have to crawl, to keep close down there. It's safer. And there's just this mad panic and everybody's just gone into this. The amount of fearfulness and anxiousness, it's not like it's just suddenly happened. We are carrying this around with us all the time. And something, a button has been pushed, and what's inside of us now erupts. The way a transcendentalist would react is completely different. Their experience, their consciousness is completely different. So we carry around anxiousness, afraid that we won't get what it is that we want. When we get what it is that we desire, then we are anxious about losing it. It's hilarious when somebody loses a phone. I was at a retreat in Australia and somebody had put a phone, it looked just like mine, right on the table there to record. And my phone, I usually put it on the table, but I put it in my pocket. So when I stood up, I picked it up and put it in my pants pocket and walked off. And then later, the person's looking for the phone. I knew them, and I found out who it was, and so I said, well, what did it do to you? And this is somebody that's been like, chanting and meditating and stuff for a number of years. And it was kind of like, it was pretty heavy. He was kind of like losing it. So, we carry that anxiousness around, that things that we feel are important or whatever, or that we own, where you don't actually own anything. Everything was here before you showed up, and it will be here after you've gone. All this material energy. You can't own any of it. It's an impossibility. But the idea of ownership then brings with it this anxiousness that what if I lose it? And then when you do actually lose or part ways with something, then there's the anxiety of, if only it was, I should have done this, or it should have been like that. And it's just like, this is crazy town. Before you got it, when you were desiring it, when you had it, and when you lost it, in all three instances, you're in anxiety. It's just manifesting a bit differently. And because it's pervasive and always with us, we don't know what the state of self-realization, of enlightenment is, where one is actually completely free from all anxiousness. And the reference to this spiritual dimension, it has this characteristic where the living being can be completely at peace. The process of spiritual life and what we refer to as spiritual liberation is this journey home. This movement away from all that which is temporary and limited and filled with anxiousness and suffering and unpleasantness and, a few moments of, good, but on the whole, it's not that good. If we want to be truthful, it's not that good. But we have a great capacity for something which is much more wonderful. That is a spiritual desire. And it can only be fulfilled by spiritual experience in a spiritual dimension. And so the process of the path of yoga, the path of liberation, the path of spiritual enlightenment, the spiritual quest is a journey home, a journey to reconnect with my eternal well-wisher, a journey into a place of utter and ecstatic spiritual perfection. I'm just kind of scratching the surface here because it's a huge topic and we don't have that much time. But I just want to make the point that this is part of the spiritual reality, and for people that are desirous of knowing more about this, then we will organize maybe some one-day retreats and things for people that want to understand or learn more about this. It's not a requirement. The only thing that we ask of people is please cultivate an understanding that you are not the body. This will change everything for you. It will change your life. It will change your experience of everything. And adopt this practice of meditation upon these spiritual sounds, because that will awaken you to a state of deep spiritual experience and understanding. It will bring you happiness. It will unlock the spiritual love that resides within everyone's heart of hearts. And that's, the main thing that we're doing, and the only thing that we really want to make sure that that's a constant message. People that are interested in other things, then we will create opportunity to learn more about that. This spiritual sound, it is unlike material sound. If I've got water and I say the word water, it doesn't give me an experience of water because the name and the sound is different than the substance. Spiritual sound is not like that. Spiritual sound contains within it the sum total of all spiritual experience, the spiritual dimension, spiritual relationship, everything is contained within it. And by utilizing this as the core practice in meditation, one will over time have increasing spiritual realization and experience. You know, there's a lot of people that come to these kirtans and things, and there are times when people feel quite emotional and may even shed a tear. I mean, I'm in prison and I'm dealing with these heavy criminals, you know, and I've got my eyes closed and I'm sitting across the table on a one-on-one and we're doing some chanting, and I look up and here's a hardened criminal, you know, kind of like really wiping his eyes and hoping I don't see it, because it's sort of like, it's not the tough guy image. But this is like the very, very early stages of where a person can go and the type of experience that one can have. This is just like really preliminary to a whole world of amazing spiritual experience and transcendental love. There is a wonderful verse in the Upanishads that describe that these sounds are like a boat, and material existence is a vast ocean that's insurmountable, that one cannot just cross on their own. But these spiritual sounds are actually a boat that can carry one across this ocean to reach the safe shore of the spiritual world, or the spiritual dimension of spiritual experience, of spiritual liberation. And the spiritual guide is said to be like the helmsman. So whether one, you know, chants with great intensity and focus and humility, or whether somebody just casually cruising by and wow, cool, and they're just, you know, joining in, it doesn't matter. It's a powerful and transformative experience. And it can be the vehicle that we use to take us back to that place where we belong. This inward journey, this journey into transcendence, into a spiritual world, a world of ecstatic spiritual love and relationships and exchange. Okay? So that concludes the series. And if you want to go back and revisit, we've been posting them online in a little playlist on YouTube and Facebook. It's not in a playlist. I guess I could create one. And maybe after a bit of time goes by, you know, as we become, for me, I am so appreciative to be able to, you know all of you guys, even though a number of you I haven't had any, real personal exchanges with. But I'm just so touched to see the changes that people are going through in this journey. And I assure you that there is much more that awaits you than you can possibly imagine. Okay, anybody have a question?
I really like that metaphor, the boat on the ocean.
Yeah.
And the helmsman. So the question is, can the helmsman, if you get the wrong helmsman, take you off the direction?
Absolutely. This is a whole nother subject. You know, in the spiritual journey, there is really a need for a qualified and empowered guide. But there are more fakes than real things. And it's so necessary to be extremely cautious in taking guidance from anyone. We have a big handicap in the Western world in that we are not trained to actually look at things with great care, and we don't know what the standards are to sort of like, and so that poses a little bit of a problem. It's not part of the tradition in the West, and we tend to be emotional in choices and things. There is one safe place. This, what we call Paramatma, this feature of the Supreme that sits within our own heart. The yogis knew that you don't have to be spiritually advanced or anything. Anybody in sincerity that turns within their heart and asks the question, can I trust this person? Should I listen to this? They will get some sort of like, feeling of be a little cautious. We should listen carefully to those.
We get these weird culty Scientology and things like that.
Exactly.
And those people aren't.
That's the problem when, people are, it's just only through emotional attachment to things. So this, a person needs to be really careful. I mean, how many people have suffered because of just giving your heart to someone? I mean, that's a common experience, right? And so, but that applies in the spiritual journey as well. If you just give away carelessly your heart and trust in someone that, when you first come, you will hear many things that challenge you, right? I'm going to talk about some things that a lot of people will find challenging. I'm not a conventional, PC kind of dude. I'm coming from a whole nother place. I've been trained differently. My experience has been different. But even when you personally were challenged sometimes in hearing things, there was something telling you, take a break for a moment, but come on back and we'll deal with that in another time, or we'll deal with that in another way. And, you are honest enough to say, I'm having a hard time with this, or I'm don't know if I can get my head around that or whatever. But you appreciate there's something in your heart that's telling you, just keep trucking, but be careful and just keep your eyes and ears open. And that's that guide from within. It's called Chaitya Guru, which means the guru within. It's not your mind. Your mind will mislead you every time. Your emotions will mislead you every time. This is something much, and it's not the what's called the buddhi, or the intelligence, the spiritual intelligence. It's actually, it's an inspiration from within the actual core of your being. And it's this Paramatma, this supreme soul that guides and directs us from within. Okay? So, seems like we had a Maha Mantra immersion tonight. So we keep it going or what? Okay. In keeping with the theme.